Welcome to the world of sci-fi stories. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe the channel. Enjoy the listening. Aliens laughed at humanity until they saw our real battle fleet. The universe mocks humanity. The Galactic Council chamber was massive, built to house representatives from thousands of star systems across the universe. Towering alien species sat on their thrones of power, their eyes filled with amusement as the human delegation entered. Humanity was new to the stars, having discovered faster-than-light travel barely a century ago. Compared to the ancient empires that ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, humans were nothing more than children, and now those children had come to ask for a place among giants. Admiral Ethan Cole stood at the head of the human delegation, his uniform crisp, his expression calm. His people had sent him to negotiate humanity's entry into the Interstellar Alliance, a coalition of the most powerful species in the universe. It was supposed to be humanity's chance to prove themselves. Instead, it had become a joke. From the highest seat in the chamber, Supreme Chancellor Svorn of the Zeral Empire chuckled. His massive reptilian form leaned forward, his sharp teeth gleaming under the council's bright lights. "Humans, you wish to join our alliance," he sneered, his voice dripping with mockery. Laughter echoed through the chamber. Some of the council members whispered among themselves, barely hiding their amusement. Others openly smirked, shaking their heads. A smaller alien, a six-eyed diplomat from the Varic Republic, waved his hand dismissively. "Your species is fragile, your ships are outdated, your technology is primitive. What could you possibly offer the Alliance?" Another voice, deeper and more commanding, spoke from the side. General Cowder of the Vashan Dominion, a battle-hardened warrior, grunted. His thick armored body was covered in the scars of countless wars. "You have no real fleet, no warships worthy of our attention. If we were to go to war today, humanity wouldn't last a single cycle," Cowder said. "You wouldn't even be a threat." More laughter followed. Admiral Cole clenched his fists but forced himself to stay calm. He had known this would be difficult. The galaxy respected only power, and humanity in their eyes had none. Still, he had to try. "We may new to the stars, but we are not weak," Cole said, his voice steady. "Humanity has survived countless wars, built great civilizations, and adapted to impossible challenges. Give us a chance, and we will prove our worth." The Supreme Chancellor grinned. "Prove yourselves. Very well, Admiral. We shall give you a test." A large holographic display flickered to life in the center of the chamber, revealing the distant start system, a barren wasteland of floating debris and dead planets. "This is the Chiron Expanse, a battleground for true warriors," Svor said. "You will face one of our fleets in combat. If your forces survive, we will consider your request. If not," he didn't need to finish the sentence. Admiral Cole's expression remained unreadable. Inside, his mind was racing. This wasn't a test, it was a death sentence. The council members leaned forward, eager to see humanity's reaction. Would they accept the challenge? Would they beg for mercy? But Cole did something they did not expect. He smiled. "We accept." For the first time, the chamber fell silent. The Supreme Chancellor's grin faltered. General Kocher frowned. Even the sneering Varic diplomat looked confused. They had expected fear, they had expected hesitation, but they had not expected humanity to step forward so easily. Cole nodded once and turned to leave. The human delegation followed, walking with purpose, but laughter had stopped now. There was only curiosity. As the doors of the great chamber closed behind them, a whisper spread among the council members. Could they actually win? The answer, they thought, was obvious: no, but they had no idea what humanity was truly capable of. They would learn soon enough. The rigged battlefield, the Chiron Expanse, was a graveyard. Once, long ago, it had been a thriving system with habitable worlds and a bright sun. Now it was nothing more than a collection of floating wreckage, the remains of countless battles fought over centuries. Dead planets drifted in silence, their surfaces scorched from past wars, and soon it would become humanity's burial ground. Or so the Galactic Council believed. Admiral Ethan Cole stood aboard the HSS Valiant, staring at the massive fleet forming on the other side of the battlefield. The Zark-Thal Empire had sent their fourth armada, a battle-hardened fleet of 300 warships, each equipped with the latest in alien technology. Against them, humanity had been given 20 outdated ships, most of them small frigates, and a few aging cruisers. It was an insult, a death sentence on the command bridge as officers waited in tense silence. The holographic battle map displayed the enemy fleet's overwhelming firepower. If this were a fair fight, they would have had a chance, but this was slaughter waiting to happen. Captain Sarah Reynolds, his second-in-command, folded her arms. They want us to lose, they want us to be humiliated. Cole exhaled slowly. Let them think that a transmission came through. The massive holographic display flickered, revealing General Kocher aboard his flagship. The alien's sharp teeth gleamed in amusement as he crossed his armored arms. Admiral Cole, I would offer you a chance to surrender, but it would ruin the entertainment. Cole didn't react. We appreciate the concern, General, but we'll take our chances. Kocher let out a deep chuckle, very well prepared to be erased from history. The transmission ended. The battle timer appeared on the display. 5 minutes until engagement. The enemy ships began to move, forming a wide crescent around the human fleet. A classic extermination maneuver. The galactic audience was watching. Billions of aliens across the universe had tunned in to see humanity's defeat. They placed their bets, laughed, and waited for the inevitable. On the valiant Cole turned to his crew, his expression unreadable. Status report. A young officer, Lieutenant Harris, checked his console. Enemy forces advancing, sir. They'll be in firing range in 3 minutes. Cole nodded. Good, everything is going according to plan. The crew looked at him in surprise. Captain Reynolds narrowed her eyes. You actually have a plan? Cole smirked. Of course. He tapped a command into his console. At that moment, across the battlefield, hidden human warships powered up their systems. They had been waiting, cloaked in the darkness of space. The real battle was about to begin. The battle begins and goes as expected. The countdown hit 0. A deep hum resonated through the HSS Valiant as the battle officially began. Across the Chiron expanse, the Zark Fall Fourth Armada surged forward, their warships gliding effortlessly through the void like a swarm of metal beasts. The enemy fleet's firepower was overwhelming. 300 warships, all armed with advanced plasma cannons, energy lances, and planet-cracking torpedoes. In contrast, humanity's 20 outdated ships looked like insects waiting to be crushed. The galactic audience erupted in laughter as the human fleet scattered seemingly in panic. The mockery begins. Inside the enemy flagship, General Kocher watched with amusement. His fleet was already firing, bright streaks of energy lancing through space, forcing the humans to break formation. They run like prey. One of his officers sneered. Kocher smirked. Let them run, it won't save them. Across the galactic network's alien commentators narrated the expected slaughter. And here we go, the humans are already breaking apart. Classic sign of an untrained fleet. Pathetic. They have no discipline. Just look at them scatter. This will be over in minutes. The battle was playing out exactly as the galaxy had predicted. Humanity's panic a clever illusion on the valiant. Admiral Cole watched the battle unfold, his expression unreadable. He listened to his officers call out enemy movement, weapon discharges, and tactical alerts. Enemy forces closing in, sir. Lieutenant Harris reported they've already taken out 2 of our decoy ships. Cole simply nodded. Good, maintain the retreat. Captain Reynolds glanced at him sharply. Sir, they think we're running. Cole smirked. Exactly. The human fleet zigzagged through the battlefield, their movements chaotic and unpredictable. From the outside, it looked like they were fleeing in desperation. But in reality, they were leading the enemy deeper into the kill zone. The ambush is set. The Zark Thal fleet pursued aggressively. Confident in their superiority, they spread out, preparing to surround the remaining human ships. That was their biggest mistake. Cole watched the battle map carefully. The enemy had fallen for it. The real human fleet had been waiting. Phase 2 begin again, the unveiling of humanity's true strength. Across the battlefield, space itself seemed to shimmer. Then dozens of massive warships decloaked behind the enemy lines. The real human battle fleet had been hiding in the darkness of the expanse. All along, the galactic audience fell silent on the enemy flagship. General Kocher's eyes widened. His fleet had just walked into a trap. What impossible? Where did those ships come from? The truth hit him like a shockwave. Humanity hadn't been running, they had been baiting the enemy, and Cole's voice was cold and precise. All ships engage. The hunter becomes the prey. The battlefield erupted in chaos. Human dreadnoughts, previously unseen, opened fire. Their weapons tore through the Zark formations, cutting down enemy ships. Before they could react, the Galactic audience, which had been laughing minutes ago, was now watching in stunned silence. They had more ships. That wasn't their real fleet by the stars. It's a trap. Enemy warships tried to turn around, tried to regroup, tried to escape. But it was too late. Humanity had flipped the battlefield. The first victories won by one. Enemy ships exploded, their defenses shattered by precision strikes. The Zark fleet's superior numbers meant nothing if they were disorganized and outflanked. Inside, the valiant Captain Reynolds let out a sharp breath. Their panicking Cole nodded. And we just getting started. A shift in galactic perception. The entire galaxy was now watching in shock. The aliens who had laughed at humanity were now silent. The warlords who had mocked humanity's weakness now studied their battle tactics with fear. In the Galactic Council, Supreme Chancellor Zidler leaned forward, his amused smirk gone. The battle was not over yet, but for the first time the galaxy was realizing something terrifying. Humanity was not weak, they were predators. Humanity's true strategy unfolds. The battlefield was no longer a one-sided slaughter. It had turned into a trap, and the Zeral fleet had walked straight into it. Chaos erupted. The once confident enemy formations were now collapsing as human warships struck from unexpected angles. The cloaked fleet, hidden from the beginning, was now unleashing its full power on the bridge of the HSS Valiant. Admiral Ethan Cole remained calm, his eyes locked onto the battle map. Red enemy markers blinked rapidly as ship after ship was destroyed or disabled. The enemy realizes too late. General Kerr washed from the command deck of his flagship, his reptilian face twisting in disbelief. How did they hide so many ships? A trembling officer stammered, "Sir, their cloaking technology. It's far more advanced than we believed. We never detected them." Coacher's claws clenched against the armrest of his chair. This wasn't how the battle was supposed to go. Humanity was supposed to be weak, not capable of advanced warfare tactics. Yet here they were outmaneuvering one of the most powerful armadas in the galaxy, the power of electronic warfare. While the enemy fleet struggled to regain control, another silent weapon was already in motion: human electronic warfare. Inside the Valiant's tactical station, engineers worked furiously as streams of code scrolled across their screens. "Jamming systems fully active, sir. Enemy fleet's communication are breaking down. They're losing target locks." The Zeral fleet relied on advanced targeting systems to coordinate their massive warships, but now those systems were failing. Humanity had scrambled their signals, leaving them blind and vulnerable. Admiral Cole allowed himself a small smile. Cut off the head, and the body falls apart. The battle turns brutal with their communication in chaos, and their fleets split apart. The Zarthal warships were easy prey. Human heavy cruisers rain down precise rail gunfire, ripping apart enemy hulls. Stealth bombers darted through the debris, firing torpedoes at exposed weak points. Even the smaller human frigs played their role, hitting key enemy targets and disappearing before they could retaliate. The battlefield, once thought to be humanity's graveyard, was now a slaughterhouse for the enemy. Desperate moves from a desperate enemy on the Zeral flagship. Panic filled the command deck. Officers shouted over one another, their once perfect strategy in ruins. Cowder slammed his fist against the console. "This battle is not over. Order all ships to regroup. We will crush them with brute force." But his words came too late. Across the battlefield, human forces tightened their net, forcing the enemy ships into tighter formations, leaving them with nowhere to run. And then Cole gave the final order: all ships concentrate fire on the enemy flagship. The fall of the Zarthal flagship. For the first time, the predators of the galaxy became the hunted. A barrage of railgun rounds, torpedoes, and energy blasts rained down on the Zarthal's command ship. Its shields flickered, then collapsed. Explosions ripped through the hull, fired, breaking out as the once mighty warship began to break apart. Inside, General Kucher stumbled as the deck shook violently. Smoke filled the air, alarms blaring. "Evacuate the ship now," he roared, but it was too late. One final strike, a massive rail gun round fired from the HSS Valiant, pierced straight through the flagship's core. A brilliant explosion followed, and just like that, the most feared fleet in the galaxy lost its leader. The galaxy watches in horror. Across the universe, alien spectators sat in stunned silence. The same voices that had mocked humanity minutes ago were now speechless. The live battle feeds show the remains of the once mighty Zeral fleet burning broken and scattered for the first time in history. The galactic powers feared humanity, and humanity, they weren't done yet. To be continued in Part 5. The Hidden Power of Humanity. The hidden power of humanity. The battlefield was a graveyard where once 300 warships of the mighty Zark Fall Fourth Armada had stood. Now only wreckage and drifting escape pods remained. The proud war fleet, once considered invincible, had been utterly destroyed. On the bridge of the HSS Valiant, Admiral Ethan Cole watched the tactical display. His officers sat in silence, staring at the blinking indicators that marked enemy losses. The impossible had happened. Humanity had just crushed one of the galaxy's strongest battle fleets. The enemy tries to escape. Scattered Zeral ships were still attempting to flee, their commanders desperate to survive. But the moment they activated their hyperdrives, nothing happened. Inside the enemy vessels, alarms blared. Engineers frantically checked their systems, searching for the problem. Hyperdrives are offline. Something is jamming us. We can't escape. Back on the Valiant, Cole turned to his communications officer. Confirmed jamming fields are active. The officer nodded. Yes, sir. The enemy cannot retreat. Cole exhaled slowly. The trap was complete. Humanity's hidden fleet had already deployed gravity wells, preventing any ship from jumping to safety. The Zark Thal were not just losing the battle, they were trapped in it. The message to the galaxy, as the remaining enemy ships struggled in vain, a message was sent across the battlefield. A transmission from the Valiant broadcasted to all surviving Zark Thal ships and across the entire galaxy. Admiral Cole's voice was calm, measured, and deadly serious. To the forces of the Zeral Empire, your fleet has been defeated. Your leader is dead. Your warships are disabled. You have two options: surrender now or be destroyed. The enemy ships hesitated for centuries. The Zark Thal had ruled through fear. No one had ever dared to challenge them. They had never been in a position to surrender. Now they had no choice. One by one, signals came in, surrender codes. Hundreds of elite alien warriors who had once mocked humanity as weak were now bowing to them, and the galaxy watched it all happen. Life fear spreads across the stars. On distant worlds, alien rulers and warlords sat frozen in front of their holographic displays. The species that they had all laughed at, dismissed, and mocked had just done the unthinkable. Across the galactic network, news reports spread like wildfire. Breaking news: humanity defeats the Zark Thal Fourth Armada. Human fleet reveals advanced stealth and electronic warfare. The galaxy is no longer safe from humanity's strength. The same aliens who had once mocked humanity were now terrified of them. A new power has emerged as the last enemy warship surrendered. Admiral Cole stood on the bridge of the Valiant and looked out into the void. Humanity had not just won a battle, they had changed the course of galactic history. The message was clear: humanity was not weak, they were not prey, they were a rising power, one that would no longer be ignored, and anyone who dared to challenge them would face the full might of their fleet. The great alien retreat. The battle was over. What was once a mighty fleet of 300 warships had been reduced to scattered debris and surrendering vessels. The Zeral, once considered one of the most feared empires in the galaxy, had suffered a humiliating defeat, not against an ancient battle-hardened species, but against humans, and now the survivors were fleeing. The panic begins. Across the remaining enemy warships, chaos erupted. Officers shouted over one another, desperately trying to break free from the gravity wells that prevented their escape. We must get out of here. Hyperdrives are still offline. Human jamming fields are holding. The fear in their voices was something the galaxy had never heard before. The Zark Thal had always been the hunters. Now they were the hunted. Admiral Cole's final order on the bridge of the HSS Valiant. Admiral Ethan Cole observed the enemy fleet's collapse. His officers were silent, watching history unfold. Captain Reynolds finally spoke. "They're in full retreat, sir. What are your orders?" Cole thought for a moment, then nodded. "Let them go." Reynolds raised An eyebrow, you're letting them escape. Cole smirked. No one letting them carry a message. The human fleet deactivated the jamming fields, allowing the remaining Zeral ships to activate their hyperdrives, and just like that they ran. They didn't fight, they didn't even attempt to recover their fallen comrades. The Zeral Empire fled a galaxy in shock. Across the stars, alien civilizations watched in disbelief. The Galactic broadcast showed the mighty Zark fall, forces broken and retreating, their flagship destroyed, their commanders dead or surrendering. The same voices that had once laughed at humanity were now whispering in fear. They defeated the Zark Thal. No one has ever done that before. What else are they hiding in the highest chambers of power? Rulers and warlords convened emergency meetings. The question was no longer can humanity survive. Now the question was how do we survive humanity? A humiliated empire in the capital of the Zaral Empire. Supreme Chancellor Seller stood in his throne room, his claws gripping the arms of his chair. His personal guards remained silent, not daring to meet his gaze. His finest fleet was gone, his generals were dead, and worst of all, the entire galaxy had seen it. A trembling advisor stepped forward. Supreme Chancellor, what are your orders? Zorn's red eyes burned with fury. We do not retaliate. The advisor flinched. But Supreme Chancellor, we do not retaliate. Sworn repeated. His voice was dangerously low. We lost. If we attack now, the humans will wipe us out. For the first time in history, the mighty Zeral Empire bowed its head. Humanity's next move. Back aboard the HS's valiant admiral Cole stood at the viewing deck, staring at the vastness of space. The battlefield had fallen silent. The once feared Zark Thal armada was gone. Captain Reynolds joined him, arms crossed. We just did the impossible. Cole nodded. And now the galaxy knows. Reynolds smirked. What happens next? Cole's gaze hardened. Now we prepare, because after today, the galaxy will never underestimate us again. The galaxy stands in shock. The universe had changed across the stars. The defeat of the Zark Thal Fourth Armada sent shockwaves through every major civilization. The battle, which was meant to be a public execution of humanity, had instead turned into their greatest victory. And now the entire galaxy was terrified. The fear spreads in the grand halls of the Galactic Council, where humanity had once been mocked and ridiculed. There was now only silence. Representatives from every major empire whispered amongst themselves, their voices tinged with uncertainty and fear. They weren't supposed to win. How did they hide so many warships? If they can destroy the Zarth Fall, then what else are they capable of? The Supreme Chancellor of the Zeral Empire Sworn had refused to attend the emergency meeting. His absence spoke louder than words. For the first time in centuries, the most feared empire in the galaxy had been humbled, and humanity, they were now a force to be reckoned with. Emergency meetings in alien empires, from the vast industrial worlds of the Vashan Dominion to the crystalline spires of the Varic Republic, leaders and war councils convened behind closed doors. They rewatched the battle footage, analyzing every second of humanity's tactics. What they saw shook them to their core. The stealth technology, far more advanced than anyone had realized. The electronic warfare, shutting down enemy systems with terrifying precision. The trap strategy, turning a certain defeat into a total victory. It was no accident. Humanity had planned this, and that meant only one thing: they had been preparing for war. All along, the warlords debate in a war room deep within the KF hegemony, a brutal species known for their conquests. The high warlords sat in tense silence. One of them, a towering beast with blackened scales, slammed his fist on the table. We should attack now, crush them before they grow stronger. An older warlord growled in response. And what if we fail? What if they've only shown us a fraction of their power? That question lingered in the air, because no one knew the true answer. If humanity had been holding back, then an all-out war could spell disaster for anyone who challenged them. For the first time, the most war-hungry species in the galaxy were hesitating. The rising threat back on Earth, the victory had ignited a fire across humanity. The news spread fast. Humanity crushes the Zark Thal Armada. Earth's forces prove superior in surprise military victory. Alien empires now fear the human fleet. The United Earth Defense Command immediately ordered full-scale military production. More ships, more weapons, more training. Because humanity knew the truth, this war wasn't over. The aliens weren't just going to sit back and accept their new reality. They would come, and next time it wouldn't just be the Tsar fall. A warning to the stars aboard the HSS Valiant. Admiral Ethan Cole stood before a holographic transmission. Billions of beings across the galaxy were watching. His voice was calm. But absolute humanity has no desire for conquest. We do not seek war. But if you come for us, if you attempt to subjugate us, enslave us, or wipe us out, then know this. His eyes narrowed. We will not run, we will not kneel, we will fight. A pause, and we will win. Then the transmission ended, and across the galaxy, the message was clear. Humanity was no longer prey, they were the rising power. And the universe would never be the same again. Humanity's rise, the war was over. But the galaxy would never forget what had happened. For centuries, humanity had been considered weak, fragile, unworthy of true power. The Zeral Empire had believed they could crush humanity and make them submit. Instead, the Zark-Thal fleet had been annihilated. Their forces were either destroyed, captured, or humiliated in retreat. And now the galaxy had been forever changed. The aftermath of war on Earth, the celebrations where massive cities erupted in cheers and news. Reports declared the greatest military victory in human history. But in the halls of power, humanity's leaders were not celebrating, they were preparing. Admiral Ethan Cole stood in the war room of the United Earth Defense Command, watching holographic projections of alien fleet movements across the galaxy. Captain Sarah Reynolds stood beside him, arms crossed. They won't forget this, sir. Cole nodded. No, they won't. Humanity had won the battle, that the war had only just begun. Alien empires in crisis across the galaxy. The balance of power had shifted. Overnight, once mighty civilizations now feared humanity. The Galactic Council, once a place where humans were mocked and ignored, was now in chaos. Some empires called for alliances with Earth, hoping to avoid war. Others plotted in secret, seeking revenge. The Zeral Empire, humiliated and broken, remained silent. Their ruler, Supreme Chancellor Sworn, had issued no response, no threats, no retaliation. But the galaxy knew better. The Zark-Thal were waiting, planning. They would not accept defeat forever. The new human fleet back on Earth, the largest military expansion in history, had begun. Shipyards worked around the clock, building new warships with advanced stealth and electronic warfare systems. New military academies trained the next generation of human commanders. Research divisions pushed the limits of technology, ensuring humanity would never be caught off guard again. The victory had proved humanity's strength, but now they needed to defend it. Cole knew that war was inevitable, and this time it wouldn't just be one empire coming for them. The entire galaxy was watching, some with fear, some with respect, and some with hatred. A warning to the stars. The United Earth Defense Command sent out one final transmission, broadcasting across every major star system. It was a simple message: to those who seek peace, we welcome you as allies. To those who seek war, we will meet you in battle. And then the most chilling line of all: underestimate humanity again, and it will be the last mistake you ever make. The dawn of a new era. For the first time in galactic history, humanity was not just a survivor, they were a rising power, a force to be reckoned with. The war against the Zark-Thal was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, the threats were many, but now humanity was ready, and whatever came next, it would face it head-on.